Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Rooted Conversations with Jacquees, a space for real people, real conversations, and real growth. Before we get into tonight's conversation, I want to set the tone because what we do here is different. This is not a space for disrespect. This is not a space for tearing people down. And this is definitely not a space where we silence each other. This is a space where we can speak honestly, listen intentionally, and grow even when it's uncomfortable. We're going to talk about real things here: relationships, accountability, healing perspectives, and not everybody is going to agree or have the same opinion. But disagreement does not require disrespect. You can have a different opinion without attacking someone else's character. You can challenge a thought without dismissing a person, and you can stand firm in your truth without trying to overpower someone else's voice. So if you're joining the conversation tonight, I want to ask you to do three things: be respectful, be open-minded, and be honest with yourself first, because growth doesn't happen when we're defensive. It happens when we're willing to reflect. All right, now that we have set the tone, let's get into tonight's conversation, because what we're talking about tonight requires maturity, awareness, and yes, accountability. Let's talk about it. So, this episode I titled Private Pain, Public Opinions, and What Accountability Really Looks Like. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are live, if this is your first time joining, please like, follow, and share. Um, and so that you can be updated. Right now, I'm going live on my personal page. Um, Next conversation will happen on my Rooted Conversations page. I don't care if no one's there. Um, it's just the point to get people to join on my actual Rooted Conversations page. So let's start this off tonight. So this is Rooted Conversations with Jacquees, for those of you who are joining new, a space for real dialogue, real reflection, and real growth. Tonight's conversation is inspired by what we've been seeing online surrounding Megan Thee Stallion and Clay Thompson. But let me be very clear: this is not about gossip. This is about something deeper, because every time a relationship ends in the public eye, everybody becomes a judge. Everybody picks a side, and somehow accountability gets lost in the noise. So tonight we're talking and asking, what does accountability actually look like when love ends? And why do we feel the need to assign blame so quickly? Respectful dialogue only. You don't have to agree, but come ready to think. So, why do we always pick a side? Let's start here. Why is it that the moment that somebody breaks up and it hits the internet, especially somebody famous, we immediately go to, what did he do? What did she do? It's like we need a villain in a story. But here's the truth: most people don't want to sit with. Sometimes there isn't one. Sometimes it's misalignment, different expectations, poor communication, or just timing. But social media doesn't allow for nuances. It thrives on headlines, assumptions, emotional reactions. So we reduce complex relationships into a good person versus a bad person. And that's not real life. So let me ask y'all in the comments, do you think people rush to pick sides too quickly in relationships? Or do you think accountability requires choosing a side? My personal opinion, I think people rush to pick sides too quickly in relationships without knowing the full story. We don't know these people. They're famous, they live their lives, they do their thing. So, who are we to pick a side? We don't even know what's going on. But it's so many things I've been seeing, so many things on the internet, like people talking about, oh, because the way she dressed, the songs that she sings, the way she carries herself, um, and then how much money he has, and he has multiple women, and this is something that he can do, blase Skippy. But at the end of the day, regardless of what she wears, how she dresses, how she performs. At the end of the day, Megan the Stallion is a performer. She is a performer. Like Michael Jackson came and performed and lead the stage. I feel like people are giving her so much judgment based on what she wears and what she sings about, but she is a performer. That doesn't mean that that's the way she actually lives her life. How many people, how many rappers back in the day that we seen rap about selling dope and all of that, and never once they was college boys. They didn't sell no dope. They do none of that stuff. They were just singing because they are actually performers. So sometimes I feel like we on the outside looking in, because we don't know these people's lives. They rich. They live in a whole different life. How can we judge what what they got going on? We don't have a clue into these people's lives. We don't know what they do on a personal note. We don't know how they living. We don't know all that. But we sitting back from the outside looking in, we always want to blame somebody. Somebody got to be the villain in the story. It always got to be a good person versus a bad person. And that just ain't real life. So now let's get into the core of this conversation, because a lot of people confuse accountability with blame. Blame says it's your fault. Accountability says, what part do I play? And that's uncomfortable, because real accountability requires self reflection, honesty, and sometimes admitting I could have handled that differently. Even when you're hurt, even when you didn't start it, even when things didn't go your way, that's maturity. But online, we don't reward that. We reward clapbacks, exposure, telling your side immediately. And sometimes silence is actually accountability. Walking away is accountability. Choosing peace over proving a point is accountability. So be honest. Is it harder for people to take accountability, or is it harder for people to stop blaming others? Now, imagine trying to process all of this while the world is watching your every move being analyzed, every post interpreted, every silence questioned. There's a different kind of pressure, because healing requires privacy, space, time, but public figures don't always get that. So, what happens? People perform healing instead of actually doing it, or they rush to defend themselves before they even process what has actually happened to them. And that's something we can all relate to, right? On different levels. Because even in our own lives, how often do we respond before we actually reflect over a situation? So let's talk about something else real. Not every ending needs a public explanation. Megan didn't have to come online and publicly say she broke up with him. I'm probably sure her publicist or whoever's behind her told her to do that. But in actuality, she didn't need to explain herself. If she broke up with him, she broke up with him. Not every ending needs a public explanation. Sometimes the most accountable thing you can do is recognizing something isn't healthy for you, respecting your own boundaries, and walk away quietly without dragging someone, proving a point, or needing validation from the outside world. Because real growth looks like I don't need to win this. This is not something that we're winning. I just need peace. So when you're reflecting back and you're thinking, what's harder? Is it walking away or explaining to people why you walked away? Me, I would choose to walk away. I don't gotta owe nobody no explanation. It's my life, my story. I do what I want. Like Janet Jackson said, I'm in control. So why would I feel the need to explain something to somebody? Ain't nobody living this life but me. So I could care what the hearsay or the naysayers say in the background because at the end of the day, everybody's gonna have something negative to say about her. No matter what she do, no matter if she's even if she didn't expose herself and she came out covered up and she's singing her songs and doing what she do, everybody's gonna place judgment. Even in Clay's situation, he's a star, he's a basketball player, he got all this money, he can basically be who he wants to, do what he wants. Why does anybody have to explain themselves? They don't. At the end of the day, you live your life for you. You don't have to explain nothing to nobody. You don't need to win. You just need peace. So you can walk away. You don't owe nobody explanation. It's your life. So tonight's conversation wasn't about choosing sides. It was about choosing understanding because the truth is we will never know the full story of someone else's relationship. We will never know the full story of Megan Thee Stallion. We will never know the full story of Clay Thomas. Those people live in a different category. They make a different level of money. We will never know what really happened behind the scenes. That's not for us to judge. So, what we can learn from this is we can ask ourselves, am I accountable in my own relationship? Do I listen or do I just react? Do I seek peace? Do I seek peace or do I require validation? Because at the end of the day, accountability isn't loud, growth isn't always visible, and healing doesn't need an audience. If this conversation met you where you are, make sure that you follow, like, share, and subscribe. This is Rooted Conversations with Jacquees, a space for thoughtful dialogue, presence, and becoming. Until next time, take care and stay rooted. Hey, Jessica. I'm ending the live a little early today because I got stuff that I need to accomplish, but I just jumped on here and kind of gave my spiel of the situation that's been going around on the internet. But that's my 2 cents. Until next time, I don't know. Somebody just liked the post. If you're online, can you please comment and say hello so that I know that you're actually still online? Because sometimes the comments and everything come through a little bit delayed. Jessica, I see you. That's the good thing about Instagram. You can actually see when people online. On Facebook, you can see people online, but you don't know who is online. So it kind of sucks, especially if the people don't tell you that they online. All right, then. Well, I'm about to head off of here. So for the month of May, I'm trying to I had took a little break and tried to refresh myself. So we'll be having more dialogue. Um, I'm working on a couple things. Jessica, I have to let you know what I've been working on. I think I told you already, but can't wait to see that to come to uh all the way to fruitation. But all right. Good night, everyone.